I'll do it when I get back.
All right, the hour being after 7, open up the meeting, October 19th, the forum, first item, minutes. Is there a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Yeah,
Jack, I would just like to hold the October 5th minutes. I apologize, I just had one small change, but I apologize to Kate that I didn't get it to her earlier. So if I could just hold that one back.
all right, we have a motion, and a second for September 21st, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, and we're holding that. What's the change? We can always do it here.
Just one clarification, actually, yes, if that's all right. Under master plan update, where it says changes that remain to be made are the list of planning board members to include Paul Smith, remove Sarah Khatib, also change the cover date. Those actually were made, so it wasn't that they have to be, you know, that we made all the changes that had been requested. So she had made them and they're in the PDF that we got. That's just a clarification. Does that make sense?
No. Say it again, please.
Okay, so it says the changes that remain to be made are the list of planning board members to include Paul Smith and remove Sarah Khatib, and also to change the cover date. Those changes had been made already. She had already made them.
Oh, okay.
So really, there's no changes left that I knew of at that time.
You
And
want that removed?
you could just say that the changes that that we had requested had been made. That she, you know, that Judy had made those changes. Yeah.
All right. So we'll do that one based upon those changes, so we'll make a motion for the 5th.
Second.
A second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. 7:05, Kearsarge.
Actually, 7:03 on the real time.
Yeah,
That
we-
clock is, if we go by that clock, it's.
No, we typically do.
Okay. I will take back my comment.
Because that's what everybody looks at. With the hour being after 7:05, we had to continue case 2304, Kearsarge, and from
Yeah.
Bob Bukowski. He would like to continue the hearing without testimony to the 2nd of November, and he requests an extension through November 30th. Make a motion to grant the extension.
Second.
Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? And you got a date for November 2nd?
Yeah, I was gonna put them on right after executive session at 7:05.
All right. Kearsarge will be continued to Thursday, November 2nd at 7:05. Okay,
What was the extension to? What was the extension date to?
November 30th.
Or a second.
Continue to that extension.
Oh, the continue.
Yeah, we continue to November 2nd. Extension goes through the 30th. What do we got here? Well, we're Hayton or whatever. Garden Estates,
Nope, on next agenda.
and everybody got the copy of the appeal. It will be served, correct, Kate?
Well, I just got a copy from the town clerk. I didn't get served. I don't know if you could, I don't know how that works, if you
Yeah.
got served or, I'm
Oh.
not sure.
Okay, and master plan update. Now, I can't get the thing, I need the PDF, Phil. You said you had it, so can you forward it to us?
It should have been forwarded by Kate.
You got the PDF?
Say that again, please?
PDF of the master plan.
I have it?
Well, it had the link in that email you were going to.
And I forwarded it to everybody. Is that the
the
one
link
you wanted
is-
forwarded?
But the link is on the,
It's
I
in the
can't-
email. Yeah, it's too large to send in an email because it's 44 megabytes.
if I can't get it off, it goes back to town website, and I can't make the PDF any corrections. It just stays there.
You'd have to download it.
Off the website, I tried that and it wasn't working. Do we have where we can get a copy, or?
I can give it to you on a thumb drive, or I could, I don't have it with me, but it's 44 megabytes in size.
Okay.
So,
Well, can you put it to a Dropbox and send it?
I can do that.
Yeah.
Let me work with Patrick, because we have a Dropbox for the,
Okay,
Master
because that's
plan
what we
committee.
need, because you can't, when I went to the website, you can't do anything with it. If I get it in the regular PDF format, you can make your notes right on there, rather than print it out and write it all up,
yeah,
okay?
and just to know, everyone, very important, that the document we sent out has no changes in it other than page 1 and 2. In other words, if you want to make notes in here, the only changes, it's the cover, we put the date when it was passed. Page 2, I'm going to call this page 2. The only change was made is we said Sarah Khatib, member, we put the date she went off the planning board, and we added Paul Smith's name and the date he came on. And those are the only changes. Otherwise, you can go through here and make your notes, and there's no other changes in the body of it.
Yeah, but I like to have the PDF, because if I make the changes, I can save it and then just
Oh, okay.
send that.
But I just
It's
make sure
easier.
people know that if you're looking to read a copy without printing it out, this is,
Okay,
for all
it's good
practical
to know.
purposes, a copy.
Okay,
But I can get a copy, so we'll put it on the Dropbox so you can download it.
okay.
And also, I hope, I don't think this board's looking to make a lot of changes, Jack. I mean, we had we had a master plan steering committee made up of representatives from all of the major areas that the town covers. And we had on the board was members who came from
Yeah.
either town boards or town
Yeah.
expertise in those areas. So I'm just saying that as a, as a matter of fact.
Okay, but it's our plan, so we all want to look at it. If we have changes, we get changes. If we don't,
Yeah,
we
no,
don't.
and certainly, that's the right of the board. But I just want to promote
Okay.
that a lot of work went on by the steering committee, and most of the votes were unanimous on the steering committee.
Okay. So that's done, that's done. I know it's not on there, but we're next here, it's 6:30. We're gonna do the executive
November
session.
2nd at 6:30 for executive session.
Okay, so that's,
And Jack, one other business on the master plan.
mhm.
So we did get a letter from Judy Barrett.
Yeah, I saw the
And-
letter, and I'm not.
And I'm making a motion that, given her response, and again, the back and forth we had, I'm making a motion, I make a motion that the board accept her invitation for her to meet with us on December 7th, her alone by Zoom, the rest of us would be in person. So I make that motion because I do think we need to move the master plan forward. I think we owe it to the town. I think one good example
Can we
where.
stop right there, Phil?
Yeah.
Stop defending her. We sent her a letter that said this is how it's gonna go, and she should appear sometime in January. Who's working for whom here?
Well, I'm just making my motion.
But forget the motion, I'm tired of this going around like this. She's working for us. I made it very clear, so she just took what we sent her and said, nah, I'm gonna do it my way. God, she must be busy.
Well,
It'd be nice to have her business, you can just tell your client to go stuff it.
I think this is very important we move forward.
No, I
Jack, so-
don't wanna hear the important, what I think
No,
is
wait,
very
wait, I have a
important.
right to say that.
No, you've been saying it all along, Phil. We're gonna get it done the way it's supposed to be done.
But please, I have a right to say that again at the meeting, just being, being respectful. So I do want to make, I
Be
make this
respectful.
motion.
Is she being respectful of us?
I-
Is she being respectful of us?
I don't think that has anything to do with.
Yes, it has 100% to do with it. Is she being respectful for us?
I
She doesn't even want to appear. She wants to set her own terms.
So all I know is that I want to move the master plan forward. I think it's very important. I don't think we're giving up a lot by not having her be in person. I think this could be as almost as effective. I certainly would wish she was here, but I don't think that's obviously
So in other
gonna
words, you
happen
didn't agree
easily.
with what I had proposed last time? You didn't think that was correct to do?
Well, I'm trying to move this forward. and
I am trying to move it forward, which I've been trying to do all
Yeah.
along. So, I
So
don't
so
know.
I'm just making my motion.
Make a motion.
So I make the motion that we accept Judy's proposal, that we meet with her on December 7th, where she would call in via Zoom, and it would be, otherwise it would be an in-person meeting for us and for anyone else who's appearing before the board. That's my motion.
Good.
Jack, what are your thoughts on moving forward?
Enough
You
with
know how I feel.
moving forward.
I think
gonna-
it's ridiculous that she's not appearing, so
Okay.
that,
Okay, very simple. I laid it out very simple once I took the thing over. We're gonna do it, we give it back to her, She comes in, we talk to her in January in front of the public forum, and that should be it, and then what's out of there goes back in February, we have the thing all done. It's a 2024 master plan. And I don't think there's anybody waiting for it. I've never had anybody ever ask me for it.
Although I do want to note that the accessory dwelling unit article that came before town meeting, that's one of the recommendations that was in the master plan. And I think that's why it's very important to get out there, because the master plan lays out a blueprint for where the committee felt and our consultants felt the
You got
town.
other votes. My opinion is this thing has just gone nowhere. 2.5 years, and I gotta cram it into my little time frame. What she says, no, I'm not done with this
So,
stuff.
so I guess I would ask if someone else on the committee would second it, and then we can just see how people feel. Give the motion a fair chance. And if someone seconds it, and then everybody else.
Okay, Phil, then you're gonna
Yes.
have to ask before you do that, is to retract what I sent to her, because that's already been voted for and sent to her. Correct?
I
No,
think the motions are
no,
independent.
no,
So-
they're not independent. I told her, this is what we told her we want you to do. She comes up and says, I'm gonna do it like this, not like that. So therefore, you'd have to say, okay, I make a recommendation or motion to withdraw everything we sent to her and go by what she wants to do.
I don't think the two motions are contradictory, because
Yes, they are.
we're responding
They
to
are.
her,
No, we're
we're
not.
responding to her letter.
Well,
By, yeah.
I'm the new guy here, so I'm just saying, but the letter did say a meeting in January.
It did.
Okay.
In
So
person.
I'm glad you- in person.
Yeah, yeah,
So
no.
thank you for acknowledging that. Now, she does not acknowledge the January date requested, and she only said that she can meet in December. So,
She says, thank you for your October 2nd invitation to meet with you to present the master plan. And then she says, wow, and then she goes on to say she's only available to meet.
well, it just,
Yeah.
the way I read it, Phil,
Yeah,
was
yeah,
that she, between now and the end of the year, there's no time. Meaning, like, almost like she wanted to speed up and come sooner
Yes.
than January. And our letter clearly stated, we wanted her here in January, and she doesn't necessarily address that. So to me, I know they're not contradictory in what you're saying, to say, hey, let's just accept her December request. But to me, let her acknowledge that she understood that we were looking for her to meet in person here in January.
Well, I think indirectly, the way she wrote the letter, she talks about she would like to tie this up by the end of
All
January
right,
24.
Phil, you're speaking for her, you don't know what she's thinking.
Well, I'm just reading the letter verbatim.
Okay, then,
And-
so you think what we sent to her and how we want it on in these terms, that she wants different terms, you agree?
I do agree.
All right,
She-
then why wouldn't you say, I make a motion to have us withdraw our original terms and go with these terms?
Well, if you would like me to do that, I will make a longer motion. And I will make the motion
Can I
that
just-
we withdraw the terms that Jack sent, and that we accept the terms in her letter dated October 15th, where she said that she could meet with us remotely, her being remotely, on December 7th.
Phil, isn't this sort of the same motion that you made last time when you said, despite our conversation about having her come in person, that we should just go with what she said and go with the remote meeting?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I've been saying
It's the
all
same
along. that
motion, and we
my
didn't
sense
vote
from
for that
her,
one.
my sense all along from her is that she's not going to, whatever reason, she could not going to be able to meet with us in person. She's offering this, and I really feel that we owe it to the town to move the master plan forward. We have this plan that's sitting out there. First of all, it's not respectful for our committee. We spent a lot of time working on it.
No, it's
I
not
think-
I'm gonna interrupt, it's not respectful to this board. That's what it isn't.
And
Somebody's telling me how I should act. I paid for this, all of us, and it's supposed to be in front of us, and she's dictating the terms.
all I know is I think it's very important that we move the master plan forward. And I hate to see this tied up for something.
I don't think a
that-
month is gonna make a difference on our master plan, Phil.
I don't
They-
get a
They
sense
sit
she's
for
good-
20 years,
I
so it's
don't
good
get
for
a sense
20
she's going to
years.
do something, and she's basically, I think, telling us this is what she's offering. I mean,
But you know what? What?
She's working for
Don't
us.
get me started, okay?
Okay.
I'm sitting here being pretty quiet, but what right does she have to say that? She signed a contract with us. She agreed to see the master plan through. She is now putting someone else before us who she signed a contract with after us. All we are asking is her to wrap this up in person. We are not asking for her to do anything crazy elaborate.
Well, you could look-
And we have sort of, it got to the point on the master plan where we were definitely put on the back burner. So the fact, like talking about respect and all of that, there was no respect given to us. And I do not think we are asking for a lot, asking her to come to one meeting. I really don't.
And I would back this, Phil, by saying, you keep saying about, the town of Walpole and we owe it to them. Well, we owe it to them too, is to have this woman come here and do her job, right? So as much as you say, and again, I appreciate all your time and efforts, but we owe it to the town of Walpole to have this woman up here in front of us as we requested. So, again, I know it's timely, what you want, okay, and I don't hear anybody saying, February, March, or April is gonna be okay. It's just that this woman has not addressed the January date, has not addressed it. She beats around the bush, she's busy and so forth. Well, listen, break something, get here, let's get this done, we can move on.
Well, I don't see her offering to come in January in this letter, so again.
How convenient.
I feel that her appearing by Zoom is not maybe the best, the perfect, but I feel it's good enough, and I feel it moves us forward to get the master plan done. And I hate to see something tied up in a kind of a principled thing, she has to be here in
All right, I'm
person.
gonna stop you right there. Wait, a minute.
Yeah.
You had 2 years to bring this forward, and now you want us to cram it in like a month. No, it took you too long to get this thing here, and I don't know what went on between you and her, but it seems like there's a little battle here.
Consider
But she didn't want to, no, listen to me, Phil. You kept telling us, she's in New Hampshire, she's in New Hampshire, she's in New Hampshire. I don't even see that
Assuming
written.
that's what
I
it
went on her
is.
website to see all the new jobs. I didn't see
I looked at this and
anything
said,
ever listed New
Mr. North
Hampshire,
Arrow.
either new or old,
I
so.
only saw that little.
All I'm wanting is, she needs to be here for the public hearing when we do it. We haven't had a public hearing yet, have we, for this? Nope. And she's the author of it, meaning she's put it all together, so
All right,
the
sorry,
people deserve
sorry to
that.
interrupt you, Chair, but there's a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
At least give it a vote.
Huh, if no
There's
one
no
wants a second,
second.
you don't have to,
That is
okay.
modified, no.
So, anyway, it's not a vote, it's not even a motion.
And Jack, with due respect, the fact that it went 2 years was a lot of different things, and I don't want to be the one responsible for that.
You had a 5-month gap from November of last year to May, so, I mean,
Yeah,
and nothing went on. So,
But is that important when you look at, let's just get the plan
Phil,
done?
Phil, you're, okay.
Yeah.
I can't do in this public forum because people are gonna think I'm a real big, mean guy.
Helps reduce stress.
But stop putting that, trying to force me to do that because it's so
Yeah.
important. It isn't that important, believe me. It's a 20-year plan that if it's done by January, it doesn't make a difference. It's not due until the 2024 anyway.
Actually, there's no requirement for a 20-year time. There's not in the statute at all. Master plans.
We've done it every 20 years, Phil. The
but
last
it's
one was
not-
done, all right, I'm not
but
gonna
there's
argue.
not a legal-
We're
there's
moving
not a
on.
legal requirement.
We're moving on. All right,
So bear with me, I'm
Kept the-
not saying that
we're done.
okay, but I just,
We're moving on.
okay.
We've been beating this to death.
Well, that's why I want to try to move it on myself.
Yeah. Okay. After that was gonna be a short night. Okay. Notice hereby given a public hearing on Thursday, October 19th, 2023, at 7:15, the main meeting room. We have the League of Greater Boston, 311 Providence Highway, case number 2307. Said property is located at 231 Moose Hill, East Walpole, shown assessors map 48, parcel 189. The applicant is seeking site plan under section 13 of the zoning bylaws to allow construction of new educational buildings for the League School. The project includes 19,000 square foot building with future expansion and have 82 cars parking, driveway, greenhouse, maintenance building, a full-size rec court, and associated utilities, water, and so on. Said project is shown on a plan entitled Proposed Career Education Center League School, 231 Moose Hill. Okay, with that being said,
Whoops.
I guess we're over. Are you the builder? Now, just so everybody understands the way it runs is, I just open the meeting, we'll let you give your presentation, and after you do your presentation, I'll read any comments from the different boards and committees, and the board, if they have any questions at the end, anybody from the audience will get to speak. Okay, and with that being said, I do have one question or comment to you.
Thank you.
And I believe it's like the similar one before. So your opinion that this falls under the Dover Act?
Yes, it's a center for educational use, so we would say that, yeah, Dover Amendment Act, Chapter 40A, Section 3. would be
Okay, so
applied, it's
you're
accepted
only
use.
here as a good neighbor, not as a requirement, correct?
Right.
Okay, just I wanted the audience to understand, is there's no legal requirement for you people to be here, you're just doing it for the neighbors and
Correct.
everybody else.
Right.
I wish the school decided to do that, but they just feel they didn't have to.
Okay.
Our own town, and that would make me a happy guy. But anyway, I just want everybody to understand,
Yep.
is they're here to show us what they're doing, and if we give them any comments, we hope they do take heed with them and so on. But with that being said, and you can go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Baldoff, Ms. Delaney. My name's Nadine Bailey. I'm with Mackey and Mackey, and I represent the League School of Greater Boston and their application for site plan review. With me tonight, I have some members from the League School, Larry Sawyer, League School Director and CEO, Craig Chikanowski, who is a member of the Board of Directors, John Sabig, who is the construction consultant and owner's representative, Joe Piccirilli, who is the civil engineer with High Point Engineering, and Sean Kelly, who is with Chapel Engineering, who did the traffic report. As we just briefly touched on, the locus in question is in Residence A District, and because the resulting building is an educational center, we would say that it's an allowed use under the Dover Amendment Act. The location specifically of this parcel is on the southeast corner of the intersection of Moose Hill Road and Providence Highway. It's to the south of the Lee School campus, which is across the street, and to the north of the Sharon Town line. It's approximately 4.7 acres. The present use that is currently there are two one-story residential buildings, a two-car garage, and a parking area for 16 spaces. And the proposed construction is going to be for the demolition and removal of those structures and the construction of a two-story, 19,474 gross floor area education facility, a one-story maintenance building that's approximately 2,200 square feet, a 732 square foot greenhouse, a full-size recreational court, parking area that will be able to accommodate 82 cars, 2 driveways, and the associated utilities. This particular education center is different from the one across the street. This is a vocational education center, whereas the campus across the street is more academic. This is going to offer vocational shops, classes that include technology, where they'll be learning coding and basic computer assembly and repair. Clerical office work will be one of the shops where they learn how to run business machines like copiers and scanners. There'll be a basic trade skills vocational shop that will do carpentry, plumbing, electrical, and painting. And there will be a retail training center that features a cafe and a garden store. Although the new facility is under the umbrella of the League School, the expected migration and interaction between the two campuses is going to be very minimal. Usually when the students come to vocational training at that center, they stay there. There might be very few students from the academic at 300 Boston Providence Highway that might come to the center, but for the most part, that facility is going to be independent on its own, okay? The zoning for this complies with all the education center and the maintenance building complies with all Walpole zoning bylaws. And what the applicant is requesting is that they be allowed to construct an education, career education building, and all appurtenances that go along with it, that is shown on the plan that's been submitted with the application for a site plan review. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over some of the criteria that is contained in section 13.9 of the zoning bylaw, and I'll briefly address how the project meets all the site plan review criteria under that section. We'll start off with the first section is 13.9A1, which is consistency with the design and character of the surrounding area, such as but not limited to height, mass, setbacks, and traditional building materials. The applicant meets this criteria because the project's been designed to be in harmony with the surrounding area, and it is a proposed development that's essentially an extension of the League School. The Career Education Center and the maintenance building has been designed to blend with the abutting neighborhood that's located on, residential neighborhood that's located on Moose Hill Road, along with the campus that's across the street, the campus buildings that are across the street. The Career Education Center will be a two-story flat roof building. They'll have an attached greenhouse, and the maintenance building will be one floor with a sloped roof. The exterior facade of the education center will be a combination of low-maintenance type materials that can include wood grain panels, aluminum composite metal panels, fiber cement board, and there'll be various material breaks along the length of the facade of the education center to make it look like a smaller scaled structure. The maintenance building, the facade of that will be a mix of cementitious clapboards and wall shingles. The Career Education Center and Maintenance Building conform to all zoning requirements, including height and setbacks. Second criteria, consistency with section 13.9A2, consistency with the general site development standards and guidelines of this bylaw. That section will be addressed later on in my presentation. Section 13.9A3, the criteria there is consistency with any sign or design guidelines, landscaping and buffering requirements issued by the planning board. The applicant does meet that criteria and states that design is consistent with all sign design and landscaping requirements. The landscaping is provided and will be maintained according to the requirements of the Walpole zoning bylaw as shown on the plan that's submitted with the application. The buffering as shown on the plan complies with the requirements of the Walpole zoning bylaw. As a not a side note, but sort of a side note, at the request of a neighbor abutting the property, the applicant has agreed to expand the berm and place a buffer of trees between the two properties so as to block the abutting residential neighbor's view of the location where the proposed generator and transformer are going to be, so it'll screen that view, and they've agreed to do it. Section 13.9A4, the criteria there is consistency with the Walpole Master Plan and with the most recent Open Space and Recreation Plan. The applicant's not aware of any applicable master plan or open space and recreation plan that would apply to the site or any of the proposed improvements. Section 13.9A5, protection and enhancement of important existing site features, natural and man-made. This is a residential site currently with two one-story buildings and undeveloped portion of land that's devoid of any natural or man-made features. Because of that, there are no important man-made features or existing structures on the site to protect or enhance. The applicant has applied for a land disturbance permit that will ensure the protection of the undisturbed portions of the site during construction, this road, the Moose Hill Road access during construction will be maintained throughout and physically separated by the neighborhood by an appropriate border. Section 13.9A6, the criteria there is protection of adjoining premises against detrimental uses by provisions of surface water drainage, sound and light barriers, preservation of light and air, noise impacts, and preservation of views when possible. The applicant meets the criteria there as the proposed project has no impact with regard to light and air. The noise from the building will be the same as the noises from the adjacent properties and uses. They will not have any negative impact. There's no views on the site that are to be preserved or can be preserved, and the surface water drainage is designed using best management practices, as shown in the stormwater management analysis that was drafted by High Point Engineering and submitted with the application. But to briefly summarize, there are two drainage systems. The first is an underground infiltration system that will accommodate runoff from the main building roof, the lawn behind the main building, and the parking area in front of the main building. The second is a surface infiltration basin that will accommodate and infiltrate the runoff from the impervious surfaces on the north portion of the site and the maintenance building. Section 139A7, the criteria there is convenience and safety of vehicular and pedestrian movement within the site, the location of driveway openings in relation to traffic and/or adjacent streets, and it references section 138A7, sorry. The vehicular and pedestrian flow within the adjacent site is designed for convenience and safety. The walkways have been designed to be ADA compliant. The access to the new facilities by way of two driveway openings onto the western side of Moose Hill Road. The first one is on the north side, and that entry point is to access a drop-off and pick-up area. The second driveway, that is the southern driveway, is an exit-only driveway. The two driveways are designed to minimize impact to the surrounding roads' traffic flow, and they allow for easy access by the Walpole Fire and Rescue vehicles. There's no direct access from the site to Boston Providence Highway. The traffic impacts associated with the project and the resulting building are minimal, and they're more fully addressed in the traffic report that was submitted with the application that was drafted by Chapel Engineering. Section 139A8, adequacy and arrangement of parking and loading spaces and the ability of the site to accommodate parking in the areas other than the front of the building were applicable. The parking area was designed keeping in mind the shape of the lot, which is a triangle. So the new parking will be located to the northeast side of the new construction, and that area is the furthest away from the neighbors, the neighboring, abutting neighborhood. The applicant meets other requirements under this section, as that there's 82 parking spaces that are proposed, and that's more than enough to accommodate the expected 50 additional new staff members to the facility. Section 139A9, the criteria there is consistency with all applicable dimensional regulations of the zoning bylaw, and the applicant submits that the plan submitted with the application conforms to all applicable dimensional requirements. Because the project meets all criteria for site plan approval, the board has the power, if they so choose, and the authority, to approve the application for site plan review, and we hope that they do so. The last section is I will be addressing the general site development standards and guidelines to address how the project achieves consistency with the site development standards and guidelines that are associated with Section 13 of the Walpole zoning bylaw. Section 1310A1 is similar to some of the criteria in the previous section, is conserve and protect natural features that are of some lasting benefit to the site, its surrounding area, and the town at large. The applicant has made reasonable efforts to achieve consistency with this guideline and submits that the site doesn't contain any natural and man-made structures that will benefit the town, the surrounding area, or the site. As I said before, the applicant has applied for a land disturbance permit in conjunction with the application for site plan approval. Section 1310A2, the guideline there is protect slopes in excess of 15% against erosion, runoff, and unstable soil, trees, and rocks. Appropriate measures shall be taken to stabilize the land surface from unnecessary disruption. Stabilization measures shall be the responsibility of the property owner. I would submit that the applicant has made reasonable efforts to achieve consistency with the standards and guidelines here. They applied for a land disturbance permit with the Town of Walpole Conservation Commission. The commission is expected to review their application and provide for an account for the protection of soil, prevention of erosion, and stabilization measures. Whatever terms are issued with the land disturbance permit, the applicant will comply with. The land disturbance permit, it's expected that it will be issued prior to the site plan approval, and therefore this criteria would be met under the conditions set forth by the Walpole Conservation Commission. Section 1310A3, the guideline there is buildings, structures, fences, lighting, and fixtures on each site shall be placed so as to not interfere with traffic circulation, safety, appropriate use and enjoyment of adjacent properties. I'd submit that the applicant has made reasonable efforts to achieve consistency with this guideline, and that the design of the building, the creation of the lighting, and the placement of fixtures comply with the layout of the site, and the topography of the area is designed so that it doesn't interfere with safety, use, and enjoyment of the adjacent properties. And as I discussed previously, the League School has had discussions with the neighbor at the adjoining property to make sure that there is a natural screen consisting of trees put up to block the view of the generator and the transformer. Section 1310A4, all roadway and driveway design shall take into consideration safe site distances at intersections and along all traveled ways in accordance with appropriate AASHTO requirements. As much as possible, clear site distances shall take into account topography, density of dwelling units, or intensity of use, and horizontal and vertical alignment. Again, the applicant has made reasonable efforts to achieve consistency with this standard site guideline. The plan that's been submitted with the application provides for safe site distances in accordance with AASHTO requirements. There's no dwelling associated with the project, no dwelling units associated with the project. The two-driveway system was designed specifically to accommodate the type and intensity of traffic pattern related, with the Career Center building, with the, like I said, the van drop-off and parent drop-off and pickup area, and along with the associated traffic on Moose Hill and Route 1. The traffic requirements that have been met by the applicant are more specifically addressed in the traffic report that was submitted with the application. It was done by Chapel Engineering, and it's been submitted with the application, as I previously said. Section 1310A5. The guideline there is to provide adequate illumination of parking lots and other areas for vehicular and pedestrian circulation in a residential district. No freestanding illumination devices shall be installed to a height exceeding 15 feet. All illumination shall be directed and are shielded so as not to shine beyond the perimeter of the site or interfere with traffic. The applicant meets this standard as well. The lighting plan submitted with the plan provides adequate lighting for the loading areas and the site in general. The lighting that is designed has a cutoff or a shield so it doesn't reflect onto the adjacent properties. Section 1310A6, all areas designed for vehicular use shall be paved in accordance with the roadway and parking lot design standards of the Town of Walpole. The applicant also meets this site development standard, as it will and stipulates that it will provide all paving in accordance with the applicable Town of Walpole standards. Section 1310A7, all utility service transmission systems, including but not limited to water, sewer, natural gas, electrical, and telephone lines, shall, whenever practicable, be placed underground. The applicant has made reasonable efforts to achieve consistency with this standard, as all utilities as shown in the plan, service transmission systems, including water, sewer, electric, natural gas, telephone lines, have been placed underground. Section 1310A8, all surface water runoff from structures and impervious surfaces shall be managed in accordance with subsection 11 drainage standards. Again, the applicant has met this standard. The stormwater report entitled Stormwater Management Analysis that was drafted by High Point Engineering was submitted and provided to the town engineer. And as part of the application, the town engineer has reviewed the drainage calculations and made recommendations to improve the system, which will be addressed in subsequent plan submission. The surface water runoff from structured impervious surfaces will all be dealt with and managed in accordance with the guidelines in subsection 11 drainage standards. In conclusion, the applicant requests that the planning board grant site plan approval to allow the construction of a new educational building and all appurtenances. I appreciate your time, and I am now going to turn it over to Joe Piccirilli from High Point Engineering. Oops.
Hello, my name's Joe Piccirilli with High Point Engineering, representing the Lee School of Greater Boston tonight. So I grew up about 5 minutes from the site, graduating Walpole High in 2005, so it's good to be in front of you guys tonight. So what I thought I would do is just give a quick run through of the plans after Nadine just gave her presentation. So as you can see here, highlighted in blue are the 2 structures that we're proposing to be on site. The first main building here, with the greenhouse coming off the back. And then on the plan, east side of the site is the maintenance building. So that will take place of one of these structures that's being demolished on the site. As Nadine discussed, the main entrance driveway will be from the north side of the site. We're showing 2 different drop-off lanes, one for the van drop-offs, and then a separate lane for parent drop-off. We provided enough room here for any emergency vehicles to pass by. Also highlighted here in green are potential proposed areas for proposed solar canopy. In the rear of the site, we'll be proposing a recreational court. And then this tree line you see here is about the approximate limits of work. Overall, about 3.2 acres, which is what pushed us into a land disturbance permit. So going to the next sheet. Sheet 201. On this plan here, we're just showing a potential expansion of the building. We're not permitting it yet. We just wanted to make the board aware of that. We've also checked zoning just to make sure that we're still meeting, overall coverage, setbacks, and, just overall meeting the zoning requirements if the Lee School does in fact decide to go forward with this expansion. Next plan is grading and drainage. So again, these 2 areas you see here highlighted in blue are the proposed infiltration systems. The first is an underground cul-de-sac system, taking pretty much all the roof runoff. This front area parking lot. We'll be picking up the rear with a few area drains tying in. And then the remainder of the site will be this surface infiltration system in the north corner of the site. That's kind of like the natural low point of the site. We were out there in late June to do test pits, witnessed by the town engineer. Overall, we hit really good soils, pretty much nothing but sand for 12 feet down. 10 to 12 feet is how far we got with our test pits. No groundwater concerns. So luckily, we were able to infiltrate up to and including the 100-year storm for all infiltration. We are providing a emergency spillway here. Probably won't be used. We have about a foot of freeboard in the 100-year event, but we thought we would just provide it just in case there's any sort of clogging or failure of that system. Lee School does have a similar system to this across the street that they've been doing a good job maintaining. We took a look at that when we were on site. Overall, it looks like we're grading up to this property line. As Nadine pointed out, we are going to take a look at this area here to see if we can limit the grading onto this neighboring property line. So next up is the utility plan. And I've just highlighted here for you in blue where the proposed water services will be coming in from Moose Hill Road. Domestic and fire coming into the main building here. We're showing one fire hydrant located in this island and then a second one over by this parking lot here. And then we'll have another separate service for the maintenance building coming in Moose Hill Road in this location. For SOAR, we're showing a gravity system from the proposed structure down to a pump station down in this area, also gravity from the maintenance here. From that pump station, we'll be providing a force main along the property line here, crossing Moose Hill Road, and then into this existing manhole, which we've inspected. There is a existing line there that we'll be tying into that goes across the street, well, across Route 1, and then feeds into the town's gravity system. Moving on to landscaping. We are proposing to keep these existing evergreen trees in front of the building there. They are in the right-of-way. We'd like to keep those trees and just provide some additional low shrubs and flowers just to give that some color. Overall, the landscape architect decided to keep a variety of evergreens and a variety of different shrubbery that flowers different times of the year, just so we always have something flowering in different seasons. On the slopes, you'll see a wildflower seed mix, which is pretty low maintenance. The idea here is that it will only need to be cut maybe twice a year, once in the spring and again in the fall. With our application, we also included just a couple of renderings to give you guys an idea of what the building will look like. This was done by Bill Maciello, who's here tonight. So I think with that, either myself, Bill, or Sean Kelly would be happy to answer any technical questions you guys might have. We'll open the floor to you guys.
Okay, you guys all set with presentation? Okay, I'll read what we got. Okay.
No, I didn't take, I just did the traffic report.
All right, we'll go first one. Something from, did you take that too?
I swear, this is all I took.
I swear, I had, didn't I have one from Board of Health? Oh, there it is, I got it, thanks, Phil. No, it's stuck to that. All right, Board of Health, at their October 3rd meeting, voted unanimously, they have no comments at this time. From Board of Water and Sewer, at their September 25th meeting, they said that they don't have any comments at this time. Don't know when their time's coming, but, you know, something off the pot, right? Because once we go forward, we're not waiting, because they have plenty of time. Okay, next one, I got one from Carl and Fire Chief Paul Barry. This is dated the 25th of September, and said that the first one, they swept path analysis was submitted per the Fire Code 527 CMR 1, using the Walpole Fire Department turning radius. We request further detail. The applicant needs to show the apparatus turning right out of the proposed property and access egress for the proposed parking lot. Okay. Next one, CMR 527 1, 18235 3.1. The minimum inside turn radius of the fire department access road shall be 25 feet. The roadway shall be designed to support all fire vehicles per CMR 1 per 527. The fire lane markings and sign shall be required and shown on the plans. And the applicant and any future owners will be responsible for the signage to remain current and legible. We request the applicant indicate the proposed location of the fire department connection on the plan. I assume that's for the building? Okay. Next one is with all the rooftop equipment, they don't like that you gotta access it through a Bilco hatch. They wanna go through one of the stairwells. Being a site plan, doesn't pertain to us, so, you know, whatever you guys do, he's gonna get what he wants, as we know, but, now, I don't understand the Bilco hatch. You guys gotta get your own ladder and put it there, or are you gonna have a ladder? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'm Bill Masiello. Mr. Chairman, we're...
Oh, could you come up to the
proposing-
microphone?
Come on, you gotta come up.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we're proposing to put in a ship's ladder that'll be, actually have its own space, so it won't be in the stairway. We can't put it in the stairway because of access by the children. We'd have to block it off, and there's a safety hazard in doing so. So we're going to make a separate space for an additional stair that would go up to, it would still have a hatch, but it's going to be a ship's ladder. It's not going to be a vertical ladder that's difficult to carry equipment up.
No,
If that's acceptable, then, you know, we'd like to move forward with that.
we don't care. It doesn't affect
Okay.
us. When you go to get the building permit.
Sure.
Just for the, so you understand some of the background, the high school has the ship's ladder, okay? We built the library, it probably cost us an extra 50 grand, so that no one have to put a ladder to walk up to the roof, because we had that, that's
Right.
another whole thing, but you'll have to work that out with the fire
Sure.
department. The next one is gonna be pertaining to you anyway. If the fire alarm system is to be monitored by a radio box, they want the box located in the vestibule. And as you know, this is during your building department reviews.
Yes.
And the one that's, I started looking at, I thought it was kind of funny, but he said on C503, this isn't you, it'll be you. He talks about the fire hydrants at Town of Devens. I can't find that on here.
It's not Devon's.
Where is it? What, am I blind?
It's a little hard to find.
Little. Give me a hint, Kyle.
General notes.
Oh, I'm looking under the deep.
There's a lot of notes here. And they're
C5.
not numbered, Joe. I don't,
I have C-
I did see it. I didn't comment on it, but I did see it.
Well, I'm looking on sheet.
We'll find it.
503.
I think it's on G002.
Oh,
Might be
good.
both.
Oh, did he say 503?
Yeah, but I'm looking at the high, I couldn't find it. Does anybody know where it is?
No.
No.
That's his comments.
We'll have to find Waldo another day.
It's on the right-hand side of the fire hydrant detail on the top.
It is?
Yep.
Oh, there it is, yes.
Very top right.
I mean, yep, okay. Maybe they get better hydrants than we do. We know you'll make that correction, right?
Correct.
And you think the fire department don't check plans, huh? All right, the only other one we have here is Kyle's, and I'll let Kyle do his. Yep, it's the same one he sent to us, yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We did deliver a memo to the board dated October 18th. Some 50 or so comments. In spite of the number of comments, this is solid design, well-prepared plans. They present well. The drainage is as described by Mr. Piccarelli. There are great soils in sight. and they've done well. Nevertheless, we have provided comments to see the type of detail and presentation on the plans, as well as construction detail that we normally require. Rather than go through all the comments, I'll quickly review highlight the ones that are most important. Not huge important, but there's a typo on comment 3. It should say note 3 instead of note 2. Comment 28, I noted that there is some snow storage shown on the plan, but there's not a lot. We don't have guidelines in our site plan to size that, but it's a fairly small area. You might want to think about that. Comment 34, I noted the generator is on the east side of the site, tucked into the grading in the zoning buffer, and that it's closest to the adjacent residential house on 237 Moose Hill Road. In my memo, I recommended that the generator be moved, more so for noise than anything else. Comment 53, there's landscaping in the public way. As Mr. Piccirilli pointed out, there's all existing evergreen trees out there now, but as a rule, and this came up in the last site plan review, I'm discouraging, I don't mind the grading and loam and seed, but I'm discouraging the landscape requirements within the right-of-way. And then on comment number, I might have the number wrong here, maybe I have more than a comment 60. I made a comment about the lighting and said we also do not codify it, but I try and have the illumination in anything to do with employee parking at about a half a lumen or more. In some places, the lighting gets kind of thin on that lighting plan.
58.
Thank you, John. I comment 58. And that's really it. Any more questions? We did provide separate comments to the Conservation Commission under the land disturbance permit. And so those comments are also included in this memo. So this memo is fairly long, but a good number of comments have gone over to Conservation. I don't think they'll have any trouble addressing the comments that we provided on the land disturbance. And that's it, Mr. Chair. If there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Quick one, you guys, I know they do land disturbance, so this has no wetlands to deal with?
No wetlands.
Okay.
Well, it seems like it should be, yeah.
No, it's on the other one, I remember. It's on the other school, right?
Yes.
You know, down in the hollow.
Yes.
Yep. That's, okay, you're all set? You understood what he had? Anything there that was
Nope.
earth-shattering or anything you didn't understand? Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Just replying to.
Come on up.
One of the concerns we had. So we struggled with this one a little bit. That the item number 34, the proposed generator is directly adjacent to the single-family residence. Because of the way the site, we're accessing the site, utilizing the site, it's the only place on the site where we didn't have a place that would have student interaction. So because we have the front of the building with, there's going to be a fair amount of activity with students coming and going along that front, and we don't want to put the generator at the front of the building. On the north side of the building, it's sort of the same thing. We're going to be queuing up students there. And if they ever build another phase, originally we were looking at putting it in that northwest corner, but if they decide to put a small gymnasium or an activity space, I'd have to move the generator. And we located the electrical room to the south side of the building, because that was the easiest way for us to kind of consolidate all the utilities in a place that wouldn't be interfering with the inside of the building. So it's just a matter of consideration. I would like to request that, if we could, we're putting a sound mitigation system along with that generator. The generator is going to be a diesel-powered generator. It will have sound attenuation designed with it. We wanted to put, obviously, that screen that we talked about, the vegetation screen. If there's anything else we could do to sound attenuation, we'd like to keep it where it is, because there's really no other place to locate it without interfering with some of the functions of the school and the development of some greenscape for the use of the school around it. One of the things about their program is, because we have that greenhouse, they want to investigate a lot of time with horticulture and developing some garden spaces along the sides of the building and the front of the building. So, you know, this little corner that we have was kind of tucked away at the bottom of a slope. We cut into the slope slightly just to kind of put it in basically in a hole. So anyway, I'd just like to ask a reconsideration of that one item, if possible. Thank you.
Okay, I'm looking here on the grading, you're about 7 foot in the hole, right?
About that.
Yeah, so it's, when you're up there, they will be down, and these generators typically aren't that high, okay. But you've talked to your neighbors, or whatever, correct? You've come to some type of what they,
I believe so. Sorry, well, he's asking the discussion with the neighbors about the side of the property with the transformer generator. There was a discussion with them. I believe Larry.
Yes, I mean, it wasn't specific to the generator transformer.
Right.
okay, what was said earlier is it's not necessarily on here, that you guys have been talking to them and you'd come to some type of agreement. Whatever agreement you come, please, you're gonna have to put it on the plan anyway. Okay? Unless we hear something different. Okay, with that being said, and the answer, you had the comments, I'll open it up to Paul first.
Yeah, regards to the traffic study, we weren't privy to a copy of it prior, and I know one has been completed, but could we just hear a little bit from you, sir, and the traffic study? Because, again, knowing Moose Hill Road, the congestion in the beginning of that, we know that the League School also has 2 buildings across the street as well. And I know there's not going to be a lot of student passing, but again, you know, there'll still be a lot of, you know, I think that, you know, in, out of getting on Route 1.
Sure. Well, good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. For the record, Sean Kelly with Chapel Engineering. So really, there were 2 components to our traffic assessment. One was to look at the safety characteristics of the project and ensure safe access and egress, and the second was to look at the actual impacts of the project in terms of additional traffic. With respect to the traffic increases, what we did is we went out and did counts at the existing facility, looked at the patterns to identify when people are coming and going, and then based on the number of students, kind of backed into a trip generation rate that would tell us how many trips you could expect, you know, during the peak hours. I would note that the peak hours for this facility don't necessarily coincide with the peak hours of roadway traffic. It's a little bit later in the morning, you know, 8:15 to 9:15, and then in the evening or the afternoon, it's actually a lot earlier. It's in the kind of the 2:15 to 3:15 range, so they don't necessarily coincide with the busiest hours of traffic. Most of this traffic, the great bulk of it, 85%, you know, comes and goes from Route 1. There's very little on Moose Hill itself. It's more in the 15% range. When we did our assessment, I would point out that, you know, we had assumed a 50 student enrollment. We do understand it may be as high as 80. But even with that higher number, what we're looking at is basically less than 1 trip coming and going each minute, you know, during those peak hours. So in the morning, you know, you'd have about 40 vehicles coming and about 50 going, and then in the afternoon, about 40 coming and about a little over 65 going. So that's kind of the level of increase. Most of that, again, is going to be on Route 1. The increases on Moose Hill are going to be in the order of, you know, we had said in the initial assessment, you know, 10 vehicles or less an hour. It's really might be about 15 or less, but certainly it's a very low number. With respect to the safety analysis, we went out and looked at vehicle speeds on Moose Hill. We looked at the sight distances. The alignment of the corridor is certainly adequate to allow for the sight distances that you need for safe access and egress. We did note that there is some existing vegetation along the frontage that would need to be removed to meet that criteria, but certainly as part of the site development, that can be achieved. So really, that's our assessment in a nutshell. You know, most of the traffic will be coming and going from Route 1. The only area that's going to see a real increase in traffic on Moose Hill will be that portion between Route 1 and the driveways themselves. And again, you're looking at about 1 vehicle a minute coming and going or less. It's not a huge increase. It's certainly, in relation to what's going on Route 1, it's not a very large increase at all. Yeah. And that's pretty much what we have. We did make a recommendation, you know, that if there is going to be pedestrian connectivity between the new site and the old site, to potentially look at some measures to enhance the crossing of Moose Hill. You know, you could, whether it's signage, whether it's a crosswalk, whether it's a flashing beacon, there are certainly a number of measures you could put in there to make it a safer condition. But certainly the sight lines out there are excellent for traffic up and down Moose Hill, and again, the volumes are still relatively low.
If I'm coming down Route 1 and I bang it right onto Moose Hill, how far is that driveway?
It's, I want to say it's maybe, is it about 400 feet, is that? I think it's about 400 feet down, and you need about 200 feet of sight distance based on the speeds.
Based on the speeds, okay. And the crosswalk will be 400, or more than 400 feet? Where will the crosswalk be in compared to down that driveway? So 400 feet, when I come down,
Right in front of the restaurant.
I believe it's right near the first driveway.
so it'll be still roughly 400 feet.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, you all set? Anything else, Paul?
No, Jack, a question I would have, and I don't know. Was there any restrictions on Moose Hill Road about travel access?
No.
No, there was none.
No, nothing.
Okay. None, all right. Then must be the wrong street that I'm thinking. All right, I have no further questions.
Okay. Catherine?
Nadine knocked most of my questions off. Good job.
Go home.
I just have a few. So Carl mentioned the snow storage, and I only saw 2 areas on the plan. Is that correct? There was the long,
Yeah, that's correct. We
Yeah.
can work with Carl to come out. I know he said there's no exact criteria, but we can work with Carl on
just
getting a
looked
little
like
bit more.
it
Yeah.
looked like a big surface area in
Mhm.
compared to, just bear with me for a second, I'm skipping a bunch, so. So about how many staff, and so you said about
50 students, 50 staff?
Yes.
So it's about equal. And do the students mostly come singularly? Do they arrive alone, or do they come like on a bus, or?
It's mostly singularly. You guys have vans that go pick up each student individually. If Larry.
I'm just
from
asking in
Lee
regard
School-
to the trips in and
Sure.
out.
Well, just so everybody understands. Yeah.
For the students who are coming to the school, it's usually 1 or 2, maybe 3 in like a minivan. They don't come in a large school bus.
Okay, thank you. Is the recreation court, is that like a paved area, or is that a?
Yeah, that will be a paved area.
That will be a
Yep.
paved area. So this is more of a curiosity question. The dumpsters, it was noted there were bollards in front of it. Is that correct?
Yes, typically we put proposed bollards in front of them just for protection from the trucks.
Okay, all right.
Not in front of the dumpsters.
That's what I mean, it's in
No,
back
they
of
don't,
them?
no, it's on the sides.
It's really on the sides
So
to
they don't
protect the
knock
fence.
Showed on
Fence
the
down or
picture.
whatever they
Okay,
have.
all right. And is the store going to be open to the public, or is it just a store for the students and staff?
With Bill or
Yes, the plan is to have it open to the public.
How much traffic would you think that would generate? Is that like a, so you had said, I believe someone said it would be like a cafe and a nursery? Is that what they said, a flowers?
A garden craft store. So I would see it being kind of minimal traffic, not like a Dunkin' Donuts. It would be a takeout window or anything.
Okay. All right, that's all I have, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Phil?
Thank you. I do think it's a good project, and it does fit into the area, and good that you're adding on to your school. Just starting on the cover page, you might want to put the zoning district on the cover page, and also the fact that it's not, the water resource protection overlay, that it's not in an overlay district, just to document that. On sheet C200, so you're planning on doing the canopy with the solar panels? And I was wondering if that's going to make a difference in the landscaping. In other words, knowing that you may be covering some of that area, and could you actually show what the area might be, or maybe you don't even know that now?
Sure, we can make that a little bit clearer on the plans, exactly what that area is going to be. We did shade that area, might be a little difficult to tell, but
Oh, there it is.
here it is in green, highlighted here. Approximately what the limits of what the canopies will be. So we're really not providing any shade over any
Oh, okay, so it's
proposed
just
landscape.
over the parking,
Correct.
yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if it covered the whole area.
Nope.
No,
Just what you see there.
okay, yeah. Yeah. And if you could just show the calculations for the amount of percent of landscaping, I know you have down for 10%. But, you know, the bylaw is 10%, minimum of 10% of landscaped open space within the area designated for parking, inclusive of any landscape border surrounding the parking lot. So if you could just show that calculation.
Okay. Yep.
And by the way, these are things we usually ask for. And I have a question on the entrances. So in the application, it says that each of the driveways will be one way, you know, and you've changed it in the plan. So the driveway closest to Route 1 is two-way now. And I just wanted to know, you know, is that a change with that?
That might be changes. This will be a two-way driveway
Yeah.
for circulation. And as soon as you get onto this side, it'll be all one way in front of the building.
Yeah, so the do not enter sign, there's that note there, do not enter sign, I wasn't sure what that was. It's just to the right of the driveway next to the building, the right-hand side of the building, right aside the building.
Right here.
Yeah, there's just a note, do not enter sign. It looks like in the middle of a landscaped area, I wasn't sure what that was.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we'll have to take a closer look at that
Okay,
proposed
yeah,
sign there, just to
just a-
clarify that.
But that makes sense because that piece of the driveway is single access.
Correct. So I think that will
So
stay.
are you not allowing people to drive? No, you have to allow. people
Oh,
to
I
drive
see.
that way.
Someone coming out here shouldn't be going that way.
Correct.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Okay, so it faces the other way, okay, okay. And then, are you gonna have any signage for the building itself? You know, like a sign for the school or something?
Yes, as shown on sheet C200.
Yeah, and I probably
Don-
missed it. That's
Oh, okay.
the entry sign, no, not the entry sign. Stop sign.
Yeah, it's called out as a entry sign.
It is the entry sign?
Yep, and it'll be similar to the existing.
Oh, okay, so
one
that'll
at the
say
school.
League School or something.
And there'll be
like that.
this, like,
Well.
picture here probably,
Yeah, it
Okay.
might be on.
Okay. And then I had the same question on snow removal, you know, to get that. And then on the dumpsters, I know the health department always asks, would you have a recyclable dumpster? I don't think they asked this time, but they usually ask for recyclables, so.
Yeah,
I'll just
we can
ask.
label which is which for those three
Yeah,
dumpsters that are proposed.
So I'll ask for them. And then on sheet 202, and I know the comment was made, you know, by the traffic engineer, but it probably would be good to have the push-button flashing light on crossing Moose Hill Road. I know, you know, Walpole's been putting them all over town, and they're very effective. So, you know, if you're gonna have, you know, kids crossing, you know, I don't know whose responsibility that would be, but that would be recommended for that, and crosswalk signs. And then it looks like on sheet C300, I just had a question for Carl. Carl, so it's all right to drain the water for the overflow on that, the basin into the street if it overflows? Is that, I don't,
If I had my druthers, we would never do that, but I don't know that we really have any choice because there's no drainage in Moose Hill Road, and any drainage that's out on Route 1 he couldn't tie into. So it's really the only choice he has.
and I probably asked because the 100-year storms seem to be coming more frequently, so would be my curiosity there. And it looks like most of the gravel removal then is for in the area where the recreation court is, taking that area down. Yeah. Yeah. And then sheet 400. I know you're trying to put all the utilities, electric, underground. And I just got a question, because on the lower left-hand side, there's the UGE, which is the underground electric. But then there's an ETC, electric line. So is that a line from a pole going into the site, or is that going away? And I might be misinterpreting the chart, but do you see where it says ETC?
I do, I think that's a secondary power coming into the building.
Could be electric telephone communications.
Is there?
That's what it is, it's electric, telephone,
Okay.
telecom. Yep.
So not underground for that service then?
That is underground.
Oh, it is underground?
Yes.
Okay, even though it
Yep.
says, okay, just want to make sure.
Mhm.
Okay, so everything's underground then?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, perfect, thank you. Yeah. And then.
I will point out we are relocating a utility pole.
Okay, yep. And then, on the truck, the fire truck turning, just another note to all the notes that Chief Berry made, but also often we show the fire truck scale model on the, showing it really on the plan.
Okay.
If Carl can show you on the plans how usually it's done, just to make it easy. And that's all I have, but otherwise, thank you. I think it's a good project.
Thank you.
The area.
John?
Okay. The recreational court, you said was going to be paved.
Yes, asphalt.
Is there going to be lighting for it?
There'll be no lighting proposed back there.
So it's only for during the day?
Correct.
The greenhouse, is that directly attached to the building? Is there a walkway between the two, or is there a covered walkway? What is it?
It's a covered connected walkway, so it is connected. It's going to be a glazed structure.
I'd like to reiterate again about the crosswalk. You said there's not much communication between the two buildings, whatever. Is that students, or is that faculty as well, or?
I believe that's both. That's both. We're not expecting a lot of traffic going from,
So the teachers there stay there, and the teachers on the other side stay there?
Correct.
And the students
Yep.
don't intermingle, kind of. I want to reiterate, I think, the idea of the flashing lights, that seems to work well, especially if the students have any special needs, that might be best to approach it that way. There is a entryway into the current buildings on the opposite side of Moose Hill Road. Is that directly across, or is it slightly offset, or?
it's slightly offset. It's shown, one is right here, shown next to this building labeled ELC number 2. And then there's also a entrance off of Route 1.
Okay. I stopped by the location this afternoon, and I gotta say, it's probably the first time I've taken that right onto Moose Hill Road in about 10 years. So I can see it doesn't get a whole bunch of traffic during most parts of the day. You seem to have good sight distances. If the noise issue can be handled, I guess, it makes some sense to move the generator and transformer away from the side. It would be more politically correct. I don't know if by putting it down in the northwest corner of the building, kind of, that would be a possible alternative.
May I just respond to that? So the only issue about putting in the northwest corner is that's where we're planning on, if we ever have an expansion for a gymnasium, it would be right there. So it'd be kind of problematic.
Well, there's still, looking at the expansion plan, and there's still a good-sized
square
Well,
of land.
and the electric room is on the complete opposite side of the building, so you'd have to, it'd be a pretty expensive connection from the transformer down to, you know, that would be, so we're just trying to minimize costs a little bit too, if we can. We can add additional attenuation and screening where the generator is if it was needed, but
There was mention of a berm or something.
There is going to be a
Could you
berm.
explain further on that? or-
there's going to be a berm with some additional plantings, that's what was discussed.
Yes, I believe you're talking about the abutting property here.
Yes. mhm.
The grade does come up quite a bit. So we're just,
It's a slope.
yeah, we're working with the abutter to possibly expand that berm that she has currently and provide additional plantings to really screen it good.
The solar panel overlay, could you point out again where that's going to be? Is that all four sections, or all three sections of the parking area, or is that just the far side towards Route 1?
It's just this far side.
Just that one row?
So there's gonna be.
Oh, so all three of
You
them?
could show that on
So
the
I
plan
could see it,
Sure.
it's slope, the first one towards Route 1 is marked, but I didn't see anything for the other two sections.
Yeah, we don't have color on our plan.
Yep.
so it's better to,
So yeah, we'll label those other two
Yeah.
sections more clearly.
The only two handicap spots across from the main building,
I believe there's 3. And we should have a parking summary. I believe those 3 parking spaces meet the
oh, okay, there's
criteria.
one over there, okay, I didn't see the symbol, okay. Is there gonna be marking between the van drop-off lane and the parent drop-off lane?
Yes, that'll be a solid stripe.
What about like those plastic poles or something, just to keep people in their lanes? I'm not, well, that might work, that'll work too. And the shaded area is the walkway from the handicap parking to the main entrance, is that correct?
Correct.
The maintenance building, where is it? Okay, somewhere, I thought I saw interior plans for that. Sheet A 1.4. Is this going to be a training, a vocational training area for vehicle maintenance type things? Or is this just maintenance for the school's vehicles?
It's really just maintenance for the school. I don't believe there's going to be any sort of training in the maintenance building itself.
Training of the students for maintenance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not.
So it's strictly maintenance on the school's vehicles
Correct.
itself?
Yep, so that'll take place of the existing building that will be demolished.
Okay, and there are what, 3 bays to it, or 2 bays?
3 bays. Actually,
So 3 bays, and then there's an additional bay that would be for like small equipment, lawnmowers. It would be
Okay, yeah, tool sheds and
small
such,
shop
yeah.
for tools.
Would that create an issue with chemicals on site, Jack?
No, it's not in the protection area.
Not in the protection area, that's the only case, okay.
No, we don't put anything except our maintenance building in protection intersection areas. Vehicle maintenance, I should say. Right, Carl?
Right.
And that is access there. That's map, right? Oh, here's the map. In the section with the maintenance area, in the, like, opposite side, there's a hashed area. Is that for something in particular? Down a little bit here, that one right there, yeah.
We're just not showing any parking in that area. That's just hashed off. I think it's in
Oh,
the
so it's just
buffer.
open parking?
Yes.
Lot,
Yep.
paved, open pavement.
Correct.
There's there. Holes. Don't think I have anything else, Jack.
Okay. All right, my turn. Paul already talked about the traffic. You know, when this came in, I says, how tough can this be? Because the rest of the school's gone so well, never had any issues, so based upon that, it already tells me this should be pretty easy. Kyle, the overflow. If that overflowed, we got more problems than that little overflow, don't we? The overflow that's gonna go onto the road.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, if that overflows, it means
Oh, absolutely.
we're all
Yeah.
underwater.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right, so by that time.
Yeah, that should, no, it's designed so that it doesn't discharge. All the holes, 100-year storm
Yeah.
probably will hold more than that because we got pretty fast soil there.
Yeah.
So, no, that should not be
Yeah,
discharging.
but what I'm saying is.
Sooner or later it
Route
will.
1 will be underwater.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Question, you're moving a pole?
Yes. We are.
In what decade? Although I do know if you pay for it, they are pretty quick. Where's the pole now in relation to everything? Is it right in the middle of everything you need, or?
It's, yeah. It's right in the proposed.
Oh, nah. Is
It couldn't be in a worse spot.
that where you said that's where I want my driveway,
Yep.
right where that pole is? Okay. Well,
I tried to save it.
you think it's a long night here, wait till that happens, you understand those. Cafe, what are the hours of that? Is that during the day or off hours?
Yes, it would be during the day, like 7 to 2.
Okay, and that's for outside people to come in, right? It's
Yes.
open to the public. Have you thought of designating some spaces or with a sign for those people? Meaning, you know, it's, because when they come in, they're gonna come in like a school, and unless they come more than once, they're not gonna know. So my point is, whatever's closest to it, you might wanna put some sign. Basically, you're gonna tell the teachers, you're over there, and these people up front. Will make your
Yes.
traffic flow better, that's all my point.
Sure, that is the plan, and we can certainly add some signage.
Well, I'm not a big dictator, but for your own business, I'd at least have 3 or 4, you know, parking for Moose Hill, Moose Cafe, just so that they know, and I get them as close to the building, you don't want them wandering through. Okay, so that's when you're there, so we're not talking after hours or weekends, right?
No,
Okay, it's part of the school during the, okay.
right, the main purpose is for training for students.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, when you come in, you kind of want to point where to go.
Sure.
So excuse me, the idea was that the parking spaces that are directly in front of the school,
Yeah.
main entrance, those would be designated for visitors. That was the
You know, I'm not one to tell you how to run your business, I'm suggesting, if you didn't put the signs, I don't care, it's just gonna screw life up for you guys. To me, I'd have a sign here, here, here. Parking for Moose Cafe only or something. So, but, the last one, I know Kyle doesn't like, plants in the right of way. Sorry for the pause. Kyle, what do you think? Should we put something at the end of that sidewalk when it goes across to the other school? So what I'm thinking is, you don't want people continuing on to Route 1. You know what I mean?
No.
When you come out of the school they're proposing, and across the street is where, if you look at it, the crosswalk's there.
Yeah.
Some people might be inclined to keep on going down Moose Hill out to Route 1.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, put something at the end, like, a little barrier, a tree or a plant, a bush, so that no one's gonna think they can keep on going. That this doesn't become a big pathway onto Route 1. Yeah,
I guess yeah, well, I do, but I guess the question is, who's gonna be going to Route 1?
Well, you could have people come and walk it down. I'm just saying is it just gives say if a kid wants to fly across the street, that's all. I've seen it in the past I don't like where they just stop and you go, at least you know you're not supposed to go any further. All right. All right, can you put a bush or something there for me? Just something that.
I'm not sure I follow you, I'm sorry, yep.
When you're coming down that sidewalk and you get right across across where the crosswalk is.
Yep.
See where you keep going? If you didn't have something going towards Route 1, someone might be inclined to keep on going. Something that says pavement stops here.
Yep.
1 foot off the pavement, boom, you hit a bush, you're done.
Understand.
All right?
Yep.
So we'll have one plant in the right of way. Whatever you want to put there. I don't even care if you put dirt there and mound it up. Just something to show as a barrier that life ends right there.
First snowstorm, Mr.
The
Chair.
new definition of the
First
Joshua tree.
snowstorm, gone.
Why would it be gone? Because they're not gonna this town ain't gonna come up and do those sidewalks.
Well, I guess I'm puzzled because there's no sidewalk on Moose Hill Road. I'm not quite sure who's
Carl,
gonna
my
go
whole
anywhere.
point is, once you put a sidewalk, I see all these handicaps into nowhere, they just stop. I'll give you one example, up by me, Jory Lane, it comes down, there's a crosswalk, and then boom, you got 27 right there. How smart was that to where you're gonna go? That's all I'm saying is,
Probably was required by the board.
no.
sidewalk.
No. The new handicap things you've been putting in. When you come down Jory Lane from up top, you make the swing, right there's a handicap ramp. There's no crosswalk, there's no sidewalk on the other side. We've just decided to interpret to the max.
But you're gonna have walkway continuing into the other campus after you cross Moose Hill, is that? I mean,
Right.
Correct, that's an existing,
But it looks like,
Sidewalk,
yeah,
yeah.
faint. So when they cross, they should see, just keep going straight.
I guess, the concept lost on anybody?
Yeah, I think I see your point, Mr. Chair. In other words, to use the Drury Lane example, the sidewalk stopped and we came along and put a handicap
handicap
ramp and it
ramp,
doesn't
and it's
go.
like-
In other words, there's no crossing
And
or
it
other
keeps going
sidewalk
like
to
this,
go
and it's
to.
like, oh, this is great, and where is it? Well,
Well, I guess it begs the question that every sidewalk needs an entrance and an exit, even if it doesn't go anywhere.
yeah, well, it does. Whatever you want to put there, I don't care. Don't worry, the town plows won't be up there sidewalks, that's for sure. If they do, you don't want them, they'll probably be inside your property. They don't plow my sidewalks, Carl.
Jack's tree.
Yeah,
Not
big
Joshua
tree.
Jack's tree.
Big tree. No, tell you what, I know what you can go there. They can move the pole over there when they get to the... Do that for me? All right, that's all I have. That being said, anybody?
One other question. I see a lot of pathways. Are those paved, gravel, or mix?
most are concrete, and then in the rear will be bit concrete.
So concrete in front and asphalt in the back? Okay.
Correct.
Thanks.
All right, so anybody from the audience, if they have a question, comment, come on up.
I want to thank the planning board for hearing my comments and for the league school representatives for also hearing my feedback. So I am Damian Bionchik. I'm a neighbor to the planned expansion of the league school, and my property is 254 Moose Hill Road, which is directly across from the new planned driveway, the exit driveway. So I have two key concerns for the board and for the league school. One is I think we're underestimating the impact to traffic. So as the traffic engineer correctly stated, today there's not a lot of traffic impact from the league school. 20% sounds like a reasonable estimate. We do get vans during peak hours that drive by. But the traffic is routed through Route 1. And so it makes sense for the traffic to go to enter the school, the existing structure through Route 1, and then exit through Route 1. Whereas the proposed expansion is going to be routing traffic through Moose Hill Road. And two key concerns. One is it feels intuitive that the traffic would then exit onto Route 1, but it's actually faster to go around Moose Hill Road if you're southbound on Route 1. That's how I would travel. So because you end up going down Route 1 and you hit a stop sign, a traffic light, and then you have to go around, and it ends up adding more time. So I think that, especially since our driveway is exactly across, I am concerned with traffic. There are a lot of families like my own. We have young children. We walk around the neighborhood. It is a very residential neighborhood. So I would urge the board and the school to consider maybe an alternative approach to minimize impact to traffic. To me, it feels like it makes the most sense to have a driveway or an entryway coming from Route 1, since that's how I think most traffic would be coming. So I just don't, I don't fully understand why that's not part of the plan or a consideration to have traffic sort of routing through Route 1 as opposed to through Moose Hill Road. That's my first comment, is my concern regarding traffic. The other comment that I have is just with the blending of the school into the neighborhood. So I want to first and foremost say that I really do love the League School. I'm really proud to live on a street that's adjacent to the League School, and it hasn't been it hasn't had a negative impact in my experience living in the neighborhood. But I think from a visual aesthetic standpoint, it's going to impact me probably the most, and secondarily the other neighbor who's directly abutting from the generator. So because the driveway is going to be, my driveway is going to be facing the new driveway, I'm going to be facing a new large structure, which is just going to be very different than the existing landscape, which is trees. So I would, it's a more minor comment, but I would encourage the school to consider some additional privacy shrubbery if they're going to keep that driveway, or something to more so conceal that side of the structure. So those are my two comments.
Okay. I'll ask our engineer. If I'm looking at your plan for that the one way out there, it's kind of, you got it kind of kitty cornered so that it's going to push you to Route 1, correct? If I look at the curves.
Correct, so it's kind of angled to push you back towards Route 1, like you stated.
You think you can push a little more?
We can take a look at that, certainly.
Yeah, because we kind of had that with Dunkin' Donuts, worked well for a while until they decided to chop out the thing, but we'll let that go. I'll talk to them later. But that, and these are mostly your vans, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so once they discharge the students, are they going across the street to park?
There's going to be some van parking on this site,
Yeah.
and they're
Okay,
also going to be across the street.
so what would you guesstimate of who's going to use this? Pretty much just the vans and not the general students, teachers and anyone else who parks in the other one?
I think that's a fair statement.
Okay. So you got control, what, excuse me?
No, just repeat, you might want to repeat it. He said he didn't hear you.
Okay, what I'm saying is, he's worried about a lot of traffic. I look at it, as you told us, the vans are gonna go there. So you guys control the vans. So basically, if we kind of kick it so they, makes it hard for them to turn, and you put no right-hand turn, and you just tell your van drivers, no. Plus, aren't they wanting to either go back in there or over across the street, so there's no reason for them to double back and go up by Walmart?
Right, most of them are going to want to go out to Route 1.
Okay. All right, so if you put a sign up and then kick it a little, just make life miserable for them to want to take it. But if it's the vans, you guys control them 100%. I know your comment about off of Route 1, one of the problems up there is, you're coming down the hill, so I don't even know if you could do that from a traffic safety viewpoint, because let's face it, we all come down past Walmart, and it's not until you get down to that, what levels out that, where we all kind of slow up, because there's usually a cop there.
Right.
It's gonna be different though, right? Because you guys are gonna have landscaping, right? You're gonna knock down the trees, so it's gonna, right now, it's a blind curve until you hit Moose Hill Road.
No, I understand, but you're gonna be, if you did it anywhere up the slope, you're gonna be coming down a very steep hill that we all speed down, except me. And we all know, a lot of brake lights we all see as we're coming down from 27 to see that. So that's, I can see why, well, they can put it where they want, but I see that wouldn't make a lot of, you wouldn't want to put it there. And I'm not sure how much receptive, excuse me?
I'll respond to that. So one of the things about when you're coming down that road, we were using the existing berm that's there, which is already vegetated, we're trying to keep as much of that as possible, we're trying to stay away from it. Of course, it comes close where the maintenance building is, but that's the only place where it really gets a little, other than that, we're keeping most of that vegetation. It'll be extremely great transition between Route 1 and you have to deal with the State Highway Department, because it's a state highway, and that would be a separate curb cut, so it would be very challenging to get approval on a state highway for that.
This is being cut down.
Okay, I would encourage, if, you haven't met with these guys yet, have you?
No, I haven't, but if you guys are open to.
Yeah, and show them what you, one of, you know, when you see on a plan, a little, you don't know what you're getting, whether it's this high or this high, so I'd encourage you guys to meet, and so your neighbor understands what's really coming up at him.
That's
All
where,
right? Anyone else? Ma'am?
so you can see.
Angela
Yeah.
Moore, 237 Moose Hill Road. And I do appreciate being able to talk with you folks tonight, and also the opportunity to meet at the League School with one of my neighbors, and to look at plans and take an opportunity to take a picture. However, tonight, I am learning more about the generator that's been brought up several times, and understanding comments about whether or not it can or cannot be moved. I do want to ask what the options are for minimizing the noise, whether it's an enclosure, a more buffered area, noise cancellation mechanism, if it has to absolutely stay there. And I was just telling my other neighbors that sometimes at night I feel like my refrigerator is open because of something else that I'm hearing, whether it's the 40B, the other generator. I know you probably hear it too. And I'm like, oh my God, is that Mike left the car running, or Mike left the refrigerator open? Because I blame everything on Mike. But but those are my comments. And the berm that was talked about is on my side, and I also agree that more greenery is needed. And even the height, I don't know if the height will actually, because it really is not a berm now. It's a slope that goes up in the very middle and comes way down again. So I do even see the parking lot now. So made a few points here, but I do think the generator and the height of the lights that was brought up, I think not to exceed 15 feet, but also I didn't understand the comment about whether they're dimmed at a certain point of the evening, or you mentioned something, I couldn't recall, a filter or a shield.
They cut off so they don't aim into the adjacent properties.
Okay. Those are my topics.
Okay.
concerns. Thank you.
Okay, the generator, who can answer any of the questions I'm gonna have on your generator?
I can answer a few of them. I mean, I'm not a generator designer, but I've been involved with quite a few of them.
You may wanna, now you can see yourself tomorrow on tape.
So a generator, will have a sound attenuation enclosure, it'll have a muffler on it.
Okay, all right, how big's this one? I know that we're not talking about big school.
I don't know the exact size that we selected.
Typically,
I don't
they-
have the answer for you right now.
This is the size of a school
It's probably
Volkswagen.
50 kVA.
Yeah, but no, we can only care about this and this. and this.
I mean, it could be, it could be 5 or 6 feet high, probably 10 feet
So
long,
the
and
size of
about
a
4.5
small car.
feet wide.
Okay, do you happen to know the decibels that you'll get outside the sound attenuation?
I don't. That's, would have to look into it.
Could you look into it so we know, and then give an equal what that means, so all the residents understand?
Yes.
And I understand why, and if it's, say, 70 decibels here at the generator, where their house is, or at the top of the hill, what it is, and if you could just tell us what it's will eventually dissipate to whatever the level, and what's that equal to, so that everybody understands what you're talking about for a level.
Okay.
It may think it's just no different than I don't know, don't want to say leaf blower, everybody hates those.
I mean, it is a generator, so it's not running all the time.
No, and that's the other thing is.
It will go once a week for a test and.
Okay, that's what a lot of people don't understand, that you do the test run every.
20-minute test.
20-minute, and the time?
It could be Wednesday afternoon at 2 PM.
Don't just get you, my experience with these, it's usually the same time, if not, because everybody.
Every week.
Yeah, everybody wants to know. Is it during the school hours, I assume?
Probably after. It would probably be right after. But it might be, because there's really no classrooms right there. It's right where all the mechanics.
So we're looking at that thing's not going to run at 2 in the morning.
No, it won't
For
run at 2 in the
exercise,
morning. No.
So we're going to talk somewhere between 3 and 5?
That would be pretty obnoxious, actually, yeah.
Oh, I know, but just so everybody, a lot of people never experienced to live next to one and know the decibels, and it only runs for 20 minutes when it kicks on. And the fact that if you keep it during, at least before 5 when everybody's home, that's all.
Right, and it is emergency standby, so the only time it would be running is if we had a massive power outage, or intermittent power outages, where they could keep the school operating.
What's the fuel?
It would be diesel, so there's no natural gas there.
Okay.
The entire building is electrified, so it's going to be a pretty, fairly green building.
Okay, does it, I know it doesn't matter to us, but does it generate out, what's it run, the whole thing, partial, or just lights and heat?
No, this generator will probably run most of it.
Most
We
of
need to keep the heat pumps running because it's electric.
No, I understand that, but do you have every light in the building on?
Well, it wouldn't be unless, they were using it for, a shelter, emergency shelter for the school students.
A
But
little background only because I've been involved with the school up there, up the
Sure.
street. Somebody decided they wanted to power every little outlet, and it was gonna be a thing of a size an aircraft carrier for the generator.
Right, no,
And
I
we
don't-
didn't need all that, so that, just so people understand. But I think the key is the decibel rating, just outside, how far, if you can get
We'll
that.
provide
from
all that
thing.
information. We can provide
Okay.
the size, so everybody knows how big it is, what the decibel rating would be. And if there's any additional attenuation we can add to it, we can come up with something for the board.
Just make sure, I thought, you said it is heat pumps heating the building?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Very, very efficient method
No,
of
We're
heating, so.
very pleased about that.
Yeah, until they
Great.
don't run very well.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else? Come on up, John.
Hi, my name's John. I live on Dorset, which abuts the back, so it's Angela's house and then my house. So the question that we have, regardless of where the generator goes, is what is going to be between our houses and the school? And like my neighbor said, we've never had a problem with the league school. We like the league school. They've been very good. But we just want to make sure that there is some type of fence and a tree line between the two properties. That's what we are looking for. And we just want to make sure what is the actual plan. We just don't want a couple of trees put in, because like Angela said, we do hear them, like when they play basketball at night, which is fine, I don't care. But you're gonna be adding, a much bigger building, and you're gonna be adding a cafeteria and all of this stuff. We just wanna make sure that it doesn't turn into Walmart. Okay, because, when Walmart came in, we didn't ask them questions, different stories, but, so we just want to make sure that we can get together and we can find out exactly what is going to be between the two houses and in front, so we have a good idea of what's going to happen. So I was hoping maybe we could have a meeting, you run the school, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we could have a meeting with our neighbors and just kind of hash something out, that would be good.
Okay,
Certainly do that.
Okay.
John.
Thanks, Jack.
Okay, on the plan, they show undisturbed, and it's actually kind of cut, on one of the plan sheets, I think, say C200. Is that C200? Why don't you show them what you propose, because you get a lot of undisturbed stuff coming in, and then it just,
So I think this is you here?
Yeah,
That's Angel, and that's you.
Yeah. So this here, what is this going, is this gonna be a fence or what is?
That's just the
Under-
proposed tree line.
That's all undisturbed.
So, I'm John White, Marie. So currently, our front yard faces
Come on.
where that current basketball court is. And we can see it, even as it is now. So now it will be bigger. So can you plant a row of trees or some type of barrier between that and our front yard?
So,
We can hear them play, which is fine, and we can see it, and I can see those houses that currently stand there. So now there'll be a bigger structure and a bigger rec area. So can you plant a row of trees or a fence or something between that rec area and our
so I believe the plan is, and again, I think we just, there was some conversations about putting a berm, kind of a solid berm with trees planted on top of that.
Berm is not,
I know you mentioned that for Angela's side.
it's a slope.
I hadn't
He's
mentioned
sitting it down.
for the front of our, we'll be facing the rec area.
You go somewhere else, yeah.
So
We want to do whatever is
Put a berm at the top, it's slow.
possible to minimize your. So we'd be glad to be talk about that.
So I will say, I have a surveyor coming out shortly, probably next week. He's actually gonna lay out the layout clearing. Do that, we can let you guys know, so you can come out and take a look. We can work with you that way.
I'm less concerned with the trees, I'm more concerned with the.
With kind of guys with, if you want to have a meeting, that's fine, but this is our meeting. Okay? Now, my suggestion would be to Joe is if you could kind of stake out kind of how it's going to go so people can see about where it is. You may be off a foot or two, but just so they can see what, and you can see what's behind the stakes towards their house.
Sure.
And if you did that,
That's happening in the near future.
And it looks like the recreational court is 14 feet below the top of the berm.
It is, we're gonna be cutting into that hill.
Yeah, so it's 14 feet down from.
all right, anyone have,
I just have one other question.
you got, Marie, you got to come up here. Because your kids won't see you on TV.
Just a couple of times you've mentioned future expansion. Can you just tell me what you mean by that?
Well, we just planned it out so that we were sure that there was room as far as impenetrable versus not an engineer. We don't have a plan set for that. It's just that there would be space on the property if we decide that. We talked about like a recreational building for the students, but again, there's been no, anything formal discussed about that, and that would be years down the road.
Susan has just asked me. All right. Marie, just so you know, if they do propose, they got to come back again.
Okay.
You get another shot whenever in the future, if you go to do it. You'll learn, never put future. All right, I understand why you do it. It makes all the sense in the world. It's like everybody puts their house, oh, it looks great here, and then, geez, where am I gonna put the pool, right? You guys are planning for the future. May never happen, but at least you're planning for it. All right, if everybody's all set, now, it's up to you guys when you get your, together. When's that? Can't make the next meeting, right, Kate? And the 16th is dead, so December 1st, what is it?
7th, December 7th.
7th. All right, so that'll give you time to go see the fire chief, a little decibel teaching, talking to your neighbors, and all incorporate Kyle's comments. Hopefully, you get all done, and then hopefully that should wrap it up that night. Okay. When's our drop dead date? Do we need extension? We need extension. Can we have one through December 31st. That's an extension. The time to take action, so it's, you're looking like you don't think that's a long way away? No, my point is, you're gonna be on, what, December 7th? We always go to the end in case something happens. Because you did the next day and we had a snowstorm where people get it automatic, so. Who's gonna give it? Nadine, you're gonna give us up through December 31st? Okay. I'll make a motion to allow the applicant extension up through December 31st, 2023.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And December 7th, it's wide open, right? 7:10 on December 7th. So you get all the stuff together, and make sure you gotta get in 2 weeks ahead, because that's what we have, so everybody get a chance to review, including Carl and anyone else who wants to comment, maybe even the Board of Health and the Sewer and Water, so, but I think should go, hopefully should go pretty simple. It's a matter of just you guys getting going and all that. You know what you have to do. So, all right, and there'll be no more notices, so we'll see everybody, if you want to come back, December 7th, 7:10. All right? Thank you. You guys all set? Yes. You can go. There's no other. This is it. You were the main act, guys. Unless you want us to start doing this, put them up.
Can I get the traffic report?
Yes.
So that I'll make copies if you want.
Traffic?
I got it all. I'm gonna give it all to Kate.
got it.
This is all Kate.
One question about the master plan.
Who has the traffic report?
Jack does, he'll send it back. He
So-
said he'll send it all back
Write a
together.
letter?
No, we won't.
No, we're just gonna reiterate what we had. Do it like that. So it's, we might as well kill it.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Second?
Second. All in favor? Aye. We're dead. Yeah, we'll just reiterate.